Did you know that if you place your first futures trade on BTCC exchange and that trade results in a loss, that the exchange will cover the first $50 to $100 of that loss? Yes, it is a win-win situation getting started with futures trading on BTCC, because if your first trade is profitable, well, then you're winning because you're making money. And if your first futures trade is a losing one, well, you are still winning because, again, the first up to $100 of that loss is covered by the exchange in the form of futures trading bonus. You benefit either way. And this campaign is invite only, particularly the $100 threshold amount. You can only get that loss coverage if you go through my invite link. There's no other way to get in. So in today's video, I'm going to go over exactly the details of the campaign. Again, it's very straightforward, no strings attached whatsoever. And then I'm going to actually open and close a real futures trade to kind of just show you how the whole process works. Now, the link is going to be in the usual place right here at the top, the video description area. It's going to say BTCC First Futures Trade Protection Plan. You're going to click on that link. Again, that is the only way to join the campaign. It's going to take you to this page right here. You can see it is a time campaign. It has 19 days left, so it ends on about June 30th, end of the month. Then once you get on this campaign page, you're going to log into your account right there. And now here are the different tiers of this campaign, gold and silver. That's another fancy way of saying how can you get the $100 loss protection and how can you get the $50 loss protection. So to get the full $100 of a loss covered, or to be in the gold tier, here's what you need to do. You need to open and close your first futures trade ever on BTCC within 24 hours of clicking register on this account. It doesn't need to be within 24 hours of when you create an account. You can have created your BTCC account months ago. Maybe you're doing some spot trading. You just haven't placed a futures trade yet. So once you click register, then open and close that futures trade within 24 hours of hitting that register now button, boom. If that trade is a loss, BTCC will cover the first $100 of that loss. But now let's say you don't want to close that first futures trade within the first day of signing up for this campaign. Maybe the specific trade has a longer time horizon. You want to let it ride. Well, then the silver tier protection plan is better for you. This one covers the first $50 of the futures trade if it's a loss, as opposed to the first $100 of the loss. The way the silver tier protection plan works, very similar. Just click register now. Open up your first futures trade, then close that first futures trade anytime after the 24-hour mark of clicking register now, but before the campaign is over. So you have to close the trade after 1 day of hitting register now, but before the 19-day mark. And then if it's a losing trade, BTCC will cover the first $50 of it, no questions asked. So again, to summarize, first you are going to click on the link at the top of the description area right there. Then you are going to log into your account. Then you're going to click on register now. Then you're going to place your first futures trade, and you're going to close that trade at some point within the next 19 days before the campaign ends. And then depending on exactly when you close that trade and whether it's even a loss or not, the exchange will cover the first $50 to $100 of that loss. Terms and conditions, it is pretty straightforward. By covering the loss, they will give you a bonus in that amount, either $50 or $100. That trading bonus can be used to trade on the futures platform. And then if you make profits off that specific trade, you can withdraw the profits. You cannot actually withdraw the bonus money, but again, you can trade with it, make profits off that trade, withdraw the profits, and then only your first trade counts. So if the first trade is like a $30 loss, and then you placed a second futures trade, which is another $20 loss, you only get a bonus for $30, not the sum of the two trades, $50. And bonuses will be paid out on Tuesday and Friday. So if you incur the loss on a Monday, you will get the bonus the next day on Tuesday. And you have to use the bonus. You have to start trading with it within 14 days. It's valid 14 days from issuance. Now I am going to actually place a futures trade myself, in part to just kind of show you how it's done, since most of the people watching this video, you will be placing your first futures trade as part of this campaign. But I'm also doing this because I have a lot of conviction in this trade and the fact that I believe the market is at a bottom. Anyways, you're going to log into your account on BTCC. You're going to go top center futures and then USDT-M perpetual futures. You want to click on that. That's when you would open up a position in the coin and then in the USDT pair, as opposed to the coin M perpetual futures. Then you can select you want to ape a coin in some other denomination of your choice. I think it's just easier to clear it all out in Tether. So I am going to click on that. Here is the futures position to the top left. This is the coin that you want to trade. Now, which coin am I going to open up a position in? Well, from strictly a technical analysis standpoint, the project in the top 20, which I feel is the most undervalued at current levels, is Hype, or the native token for Hyperliquid. They are the number 9 biggest coin by market cap. Why do I think they're undervalued? Well, they're at $58 right now. Only 8 days ago, they set an all-time high right there of $75, about $74.90. So right now, they are 23% off their price 8 days ago. Again, they are 23% off their all-time high, which was set 8 days ago. Now, let's see how much Bitcoin and Ethereum are off their price set at the same time frame 8 days ago. Bitcoin, I did the math, it is down only 6% from its price set 8 days ago. Ethereum, I did the math for them, they are only 11% off their price set on June 3rd, 8 days ago. Hyperliquid, down 23% from then, massively undervalued. So I am going to open up a long. So I'm going to go over here and where it says Bitcoin USDT, I am going to type in the name of the coin that I want to trade, which is obviously Hype. There it is. I'm going to trade the Hype USDT pair. Then we're going to move over here. So first of all, I'm opening up a long, not a short. So eventually I'm going to click on open long. If I thought the price was going to go down of Hype, then I would open up a short, but I'm bullish. I think it's going to go up. Let's go up here. Leverage 20x. The max for Hype pairs is 50x. I always do about 5x leverage. That usually works for me and where I want the liquidation points to be. So I'm going to click 5x cross margin. That works for me. Since I'm going to be opening up a trade, not closing it, we're going to make sure that open is toggled. Market versus limit order. I think Hype is just going to start going up immediately. So I want to get in this position right now. I don't want to wait for a better price because I don't think I'm going to get a better price. So I'm going to do a market order. That means it just is going to fill my order immediately at the current price. Now, how much do I want to trade in margin, collateral here? So I currently have $6,500 free. I'm going to put in, let's say, $2,000. Okay, $2,000 USDT pair. It is going to be just the best bid price because it's a market trade. It's going to fill it immediately. Then we're going to move down here. So to start placing my trade, I'm going to go to the left where it currently is toggled on Bitcoin. I'm going to change it to the name of the coin that I want to trade, which is obviously Hype. So I'm going to type that in. We're going to trade the Hype USDT pair. Here we go. This is the order book right here, all the sells and the buys. Here's the chart right there. We're going to move over to the right side of the page. So since I think the price of Hype is going to go up from here, we're going to open up a long. So after I enter all the relevant information, I'm going to click open long at the bottom right. If instead I thought the price was going to go down, then I'd be bearish. Then I would eventually be opening up a short. So I would click on that instead. But we're doing a long. Okay, up here, leverage. It is currently set at 20x. You can see for Hype pairs, the maximum leverage is 50x. I always like about 10x leverage right there, 5 to 10, somewhere in that range. That usually works where I want my liquidation points to be, their distance from the current price. Market order versus limit order. So personally, I think the price of Hype is just going to keep going up from here. I don't think there's a better price that I can wait for and get my position filled in the next day or two. So I'm going to do a market order, just fill it right now as opposed to a limit order, which means I think it's going to go down first and I could get a better price. Go down here, the contract value. So this is the total value of the trade. And you'll see up here, I have $6,500 free in my futures account for this trade. I don't want to use up all of that. I want to put in about $1,000 margin for this trade, have some left over afterwards. So with 10x leverage and $1,000 margin, that would be a $10,000 total trade. Very easy. So I'm going to type in contract value again. This is the total value of the trade, $10,000. Go down here, margin $1,000, because again, it's 10x leverage times $1,000 margin equals $10,000 total value of trade. Max long, 59,756. That means that if the price of Hype just keeps going up, the maximum amount that I can profit, that I can turn this trade into is $59,700. On the other hand, if the trade goes the other direction, it's in the negative, then the maximum amount that I will lose is my margin, $1,000. Now, when I click on open long, then we are going to get to the liquidation point. And my trade has been filled. We're going to look at the details of it in a second. But first, you'll see my free capital in my futures account has gone down from $6,500 previously to $5,500. That's because the $1,000 is currently used as margin for this trade. Now, if I close the trade out and it's a profitable trade, then my free capital will go back up to $6,500 because the $1,000 margin will be returned to my futures account. plus any profit I have, assuming it's a profitable trade. So let's say I make $200 in profit, then my free capital would be about $6,700. Let's go down here. It is going to be under lead trade. It won't be in open orders because these are limit orders that have not yet been filled. My trade, although it's technically an open futures trade, it might be confusing. The trade has already been filled, so it's going to go into lead trade. If I close the trade out, then it will go into trade history. We're going to look at it in lead trade. There's the hype 10x leverage. The price that I opened up was at $58.64. The current hype price is $59. See, so I am a little bit in the profit, about 6.7% in the profit, or $67 since it's 10x leverage. Now the all-important liquidation price, $22.73. Since the current price is $59, I really do not have to worry about getting liquidated. It's very far off from the current price. Moving on down here, see this add button with a plus sign? Very important. If you click on it, it allows you to set either a stop loss or a take profit trigger for your trade. Very important, particularly the stop loss. So what this means is that if this individual trade is in the loss by any amount that you can set it either by a dollar amount or a percentage. I like to do a percentage. Let's say 8%. That means once this trade reaches an 8% loss, you're going to automatically close that trade out, even if you are not in front of your computer to manually close it yourself. Very important risk management metric, because remember, this is futures trading. One bad trade can potentially ruin your entire portfolio. Take profit, the opposite. This means if this trade is in the profit by any certain amount, say 15%, you want to instantly close that position out once it reaches that 50% profit threshold, even if you're not in front of your computer to do it yourself. I like to let my winners ride. I do not like to set a take profit metric, and you can set all this by either dollar amount or percentages. So I'm going to click confirm right there. I got my 8% stop loss. Moving on down here, if you want to close this trade out, just end it, just click close right there. Reverse, that means you want to change the direction of the trade from it's a long right now to a 10x short instead. So only click reverse if you definitely want to do that. Now I actually am going to close this trade out in parts to show you the process of how it's done and, show you how much money I either made or lost on the trade. But mostly I'm doing it to show how the big loss coverage campaign that I talked about at the start of this video may apply to this first futures trade I placed. So we are going to go back right here. And then as I told you, we're going to click on the close all button right here. You can see a lot of green. So it looks like this trade is in the profit. Click confirm, and my trade is closed. So it's no longer in the lead trade tab. It is now going to be under trade history. I'm going to click on that. So here is when I bought the trade right here. So first I'm going to click on the details of the buy just to refresh my memory on the purchase price. So I bought hype at 58.64. Then to get my percentage gains, we're going to go up to the sell. So first we're going to click on details right here. We sold it at 59.4, higher than the 58.6. This is a long, so I am clearly in the profit. How much did I profit? Well, I'm going to click on this tab right here, this little button. Click on that, 13%. Pretty cool. Now, how much is the dollar amount? We're going to go down here, $131 worth of trading profit. So I profited 13%, or $131 gross. Total fees with this transaction were $4.86. So my profit after fees was somewhere around $126, $127. And to show you that that is accurate, we are going to go back up here. My free, remember, it started at around $6,500. Then it went down to $5,500 when my $1,000 margin was removed. Now my $1,000 margin has been put back there, plus the $126 or so of profit. So now I'm at $6,648 total money in my futures account. That is perfect. Now, the loss coverage campaign obviously doesn't apply here because this was a profitable trade. That campaign only covers you for losing trades. But let's say instead of profiting $134 net of fees, let's say I lost $134. And let's say also this was my first futures trade ever. And then let's just say, like here, I did close the trade within the first 24 hours. Then how much would I be covered? Well, since I covered it closed the trade within the first 24 hours of registering, I would get the gold tier protection, meaning I would be covered for $100 of that $134 loss. That's the max 100. The other $34, nothing happens to you, but I would get a futures bonus in the amount of $100, and then I can trade with that futures bonus on the futures exchange. And if I make profits off those trades, I can withdraw the profits. And so in summary, remember guys, this campaign is only by invite. The only way to get particularly that $100 max loss coverage is to go through my sign up link. It is going to be at the top of the video description area right there. And remember, this is not an untimed campaign. It does have a finite end date in about 19 days. That is the end of the month, June 30th. So you have to close the trade by the end of the month. You can sign up and then, wait, I don't know, 2 weeks to open your trade and then open a trade in the last 4 or 5 days. But you have to close the trade by June 30th. There are timestamps down below in the middle of the description area if you want to skip around to certain sections. If you have any questions, ask them in the comment section. Again, sign up link is down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will be back later with a new one. Ben Crypto signing out. Catch you later.